Okay, come join us in Verdansk. We miss you. We need you.
I have not finished the full game of zombies. I will play Verdansk once I've played my 30 minutes of zombies. They really want me to play Verdansk.
I am worried about Black Ops 7 zombies, but not in the way you might think. I enjoyed the Black Ops 7 beta a lot, actually. I think the developers are doing really well listening to feedback. They're giving players what they want for the most part. Like, in my opinion, I think we're in for a really great year for zombies. But even though I like the game so far, that doesn't mean I don't have issues with it. First of all, before I get into that, I think it's really important for the zombies community specifically to keep their expectations in check. If you liked Black Ops 6 and you liked the direction BO6 was going, then you're going to absolutely love Black Ops 7. I loved Black Ops 6, so of course I'm going to buy Black Ops 7. If you liked Black Ops 6, this game is for you. And if you don't like Black Ops 7 and you don't like these new modern systems, then maybe Black Ops 7 isn't going to be the game for you, but I digress. I know there's only a couple weeks till launch, but I just wanted to make this video to kind of give my thoughts on the beta and what Treyarch can do to improve the game before and even after launch. Also, if y'all haven't checked out my friend Aiden's video yet, the link will be in the description because I'm going to be reiterating a lot of points he made in that video and this one. So sit back, kick your feet up, and let's get into it. First of all, I do want to point out that the fact we even got a zombies beta this year was really good. It's something they have never done before and in my opinion should be the standard for every third mode going forward. It's a good idea because it allows us to play the game before launch and give Treyarch feedback where it was needed. Genuinely a fun time. The gameplay, from my opinion, was really solid. Like I said, if you love Black Ops 6, it's that game, but better. We have way more augments to grind for, and now we can equip 2 minor augments per class, which I think is going to make some really cool high round strategies if the augments are decent. I also love that they compacted the armor wall buys to only be 1 wall buy across the map instead of 2. That is a welcome change in my opinion, as it simplifies things a little bit more and makes the armor system a little bit more bearable to handle. Now, I do want to point out that we did not have augments in the beta, so the beta is not going to be the final experience, but honestly, it kind of felt like classic as zombies again, just playing without augments and having limited resources. We're just going to have to see how the final game plays with augments, but I loved the limited resources in the beta, to be honest. It seems like Treyarch has taken our feedback to heart when it comes to special enemies, and it seems like the special enemy spam is finally gone from this game. And yes, while I do acknowledge that the Doppelgasts are on farm survival, I believe that's going to be the only map, and they only spawn like once per round and sometimes every other round. Like, they are not that bad. Because here's the thing, I don't care about Treyarch reusing boss enemies as long as they're exclusive to their survival maps and the survival maps only, and don't bring them to the main maps. Please, Treyarch. Like, who cares? Put mimics on the survival maps, put doppelgasts in there, maybe add an amalgam, who cares? As long as they're exclusive to the survival maps and they don't take over the main maps. But overall, I think the enemy variety is pretty good so far. You have the Zersa, which is pretty menacing and it's a bullet sponge, but it doesn't spawn in that often. And then you have the Ravagers, which I admit are really cool, but could probably be a pain in the ass on Ashes of the Damned. We'll just have to wait and see, though. Also, I am aware that the Uberklaus is on Ashes of the Damned, but from the post that Treyarch made, it kind of seems like it's for an Easter egg step, which, if it's for an Easter egg step, that's absolutely fine. Treyarch have already reused enemies for Easter egg steps and stuff like that, so it's not a big deal. Now, as far as vermin and parasites go, I don't mind them as enemies in general. I'm just kind of sick of parasites, to be honest. The vermin, I probably wouldn't care about coming back, to be honest, because it's just a special enemy, the special round enemy, so I don't really care. But overall, decent enemy variety so far. I'm impressed. COD Zombies has had over the years what I refer to as an art design problem, where every map more or less feels the same or feels like a facility map. Now granted, BO6 did a little bit better with this, but they still had a few facility maps that didn't really feel far enough from a facility map, if you know what I mean. But from what I heard from this game is we're getting more out there maps, and I appreciate that, because every map since Cold War has literally felt like facility after facility, which isn't a bad thing. Zombies has always been facility maps, but usually the facility is like interesting and there's something going on, like Group 935 experiments and whatnot. Like, I don't mind the art design for Liberty Falls, Shattered Vale, and Reckoning, but like when you have 3 maps that take place in the same general area, it kind of limits creativity to a point a little bit, in my opinion. Like, imagine if Liberty Falls took place at night and Shattered Vale is in early morning and then Reckoning is in like late afternoon or something. Like, that would at least give it a little bit more flavor, I guess. Because if you really think about it, we only have one night map in BO6, and that's Terminus. And I don't think the Nexus from the tomb really counts, because that's just the dark ether, so it's always going to be dark. But BO7 basically takes those complaints that people had about the maps in BO6 and rectifies it. From the leaks that I've seen, at least a couple of them look promising. Like the space station map, the volcano map where it's a Japanese temple set at the foot of it, that sounds awesome. I was kind of concerned at first having a whole game set in the dark ether, but if it means we can go to some unique locations we've never seen in Zombies, then I'm all for it.
Hey everyone, my name is Ian, and I will be taking over ToastKiller123's place, mainly for the story. Now look, we both do worry about the story, and I'll even agree with Toaster here. It's not the worst, but not the best either. And again, the reason why we kind of both worry about the story for BO7 Zombies is mainly because of the leaks that's been going out. For example, the recent leak we actually got, which was Stay by the Ghost of Hope, that the only maps that were not scrapped were the Japanese volcano map, or basically the Japanese temple under erupting volcano map, and the space station map, which Ghost of Hope clarifies that it could be possibly DLC 1 is the space station map. But again, we will have to wait and see. Anyways, the reason why I also brought up the leak about those 2 maps not being scrapped is because the Vietnam, Afghanistan, and the New York City nuked map was basically confirmed to be scrapped, and before even like they got into fully development, they just got scrapped around the concept stage. Pretty much that. But what does really worry me about BO6 Zombies, or not BO6, but BO7 Zombies, is that the story was not good in BO6. And I'll even tell you right now, I feel like, and this is just me, but Toaster can tell you his opinion about the story. But my opinion is that Treyarch listened to the wrong side of the community, rewritten the story again, not rewritten the story again, but rewritten the story and scrapped Outbreak. Because what Ghost of Hope stated on social media was that Liberty Falls, Shattered Vale, and Reckoning were meant to be Outbreak, not round-based. And what's even fucking hilarious is how people say, like, oh, is that why the story sucked ass? Because Liberty Falls was meant to be Outbreak and not round-based? Well, I'll even agree with Toast here. I even believe that the Outbreak mode was supposed to reveal a lot more stuff about the story. I even want to bet that half of the intel that we got in like MBO6 wasn't even part of the Outbreak. I think this quote-unquote intel we got in BO6 was last minute changes. And I'll even want to bet that I think like around after MW23 season 1, or like after the launch they did, because if I remember correctly, they did acts 1, 2, and 3, but Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward did the rest, which makes me wonder, did really Treyarch kind of change the story last minute after MWZ kind of failed, including Vanguard, Zombies, and Outbreak, to be more round-based? And you guys can leave that in the comments down below, but my theory is that I feel like Liberty Falls was meant to be made for Outbreak. The story was probably going to be different for the Outbreak mode, mainly with Liberty Falls, Shroud and Reckoning. And I even want to bet that the tomb was originally made for its, not its own map, but mainly made as a second part for Citadel. Which again, Toast can tell you his side of the story of what he thinks for the BO6 zombie story, but I just wanted to come out and say, and come and help Toaster out, mainly with the story part of this. Anyways, I'll get back to Toaster.
Now, I do want to make it clear that this is not a bad section. This is just a section where I put basically my concerns that I have. And one of those concerns is Gobblegum. Now, inherently, I don't have an issue with Gobblegum. I think they're great. They spice up the gameplay a lot. I mean, people do round 1 Easter eggs just by using Gobblegum. Which, whether or not people want to say it's broken, like, Gobblegums are completely optional and you don't have to use them. The inherent issue I have with Gobblegum, and what makes me worried about Gobblegums in BO7, is the fact that Gobblegums are not as overpowered as I feel like they should be. Like, Gobblegums were added in BO3 not just as a microtransaction, but they were also meant to break the game. And the problem with Gobblegums in BO7 is that they've nerfed them to the point where it doesn't feel like using Gobblegums is necessarily breaking the game anymore. Now, I get you have stuff like profit sharing and raindrops and tactical diffusion, but even Treyarch, I'm pretty sure, recently nerfed it, so part of the reason why people loved Gobblegums in BO3 so much wasn't the microtransactions, don't get me wrong, because that shit was horrible. It was the fact that you had these special little random shits in the map that you could get from a gumball machine that give you special abilities, some of which literally break the entire gameplay. And I'll admit, I do agree that there are some Gobblegums that are so crazy overpowered that they probably should have been nerfed, but like, stuff like power vacuum and stuff, like, why does it only last 5 minutes, and why does it not rain power-ups like it used to? Like, if Gobblegums are made to break the game, then build them to break the game. I want to be overpowered as fuck when I'm spending money on this shit. Even stuff like Soda Fountain and stuff like that, and Immolation Liquidation, like, we went from being able to spawn 3 at a time to being able to only spawn 1, which, again, is not a bad thing, and maybe the BO3 way is not the way the developers intended, but it ends up making the game more fun. If you make the Gobblegums more limited, it's just gonna make people not want to spend as much money on them. Because the reason people love Gobblegums in the first place is the overpowered nature of it and the fact that you can just completely break game balance by doing it. That shit's fun, in my opinion. An easy solution for this, in my opinion, is Treyarch should just go in and buff some of the Gobblegums that people don't really use very much and give them a little more use. And I know you can crush Gobblegums in your hand in the final game, but that feature wasn't present in the beta for some reason, and all it does is give you points, which, give me points. I want points. But I'm also not gonna lie when I say that it would be really useful to have Newton's cookbook back, and that's just my opinion. And like, I know it would break the game, but imagine how cool it would be if we had a Gobblegum that fully pack-a-punches your weapon to level 3. It would be overpowered as fuck, but it would make for a really useful Gobblegum in my opinion, as since upgrading your rarity is kind of a pain in the ass to begin with. Also, it's not a bad change in my opinion, but it just makes me a little bit confused. Like, why do we spawn in with the first 3 Gobblegums of our pack? Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think there should at least be a toggle to disable them, because I know there's a lot of people that don't like to use Gobblegums, so that would be very handy for those people. But overall, I think the Gobblegums are pretty good. I just wish a little bit more of them were more useful, but we also have to wait for the DLC season to see what kind of Gobblegums they add. Now, this is the topic that I wanted to cover because I've seen a lot of contention in the community about this topic, the point system. Now, I'm not going to go in depth with it. It's not going to be an argument of which point system is better because, to be honest, I don't think either point system is the best. Like, you have the BO3 system, which awarded you points per bullet, but at the same time, wonder weapons were not as viable in high rounds because what you want is points. Whereas this new system actually gives wonder weapons a purpose, and you can actually get the same amount of points just using a wonder weapon if you use like a regular shitty gun. But here's the problem. I don't honestly care about the point system inherently. I don't. Realistically, I do not care how long or how short it takes to get points. What I do care about is stuff being expensive. All Treyarch needs to do, in my opinion, to kind of make the point system a little bit more bearable is to make the prices of stuff way lower. Because in my opinion, the problem with the point system is not the rate that you get points and everything. I feel like it's because everything in the map is so damn expensive. It's 30k points just to pack-a-punch one gun. It's like, if things were a lot cheaper, I feel like people would complain about the point system less because they will have more points because they're spending less points. You know what I mean? Personally, I think the way to fix the point system is to just bring back the Blackops 4 system where it was kind of kill-based, but you also got extra points for a melee and stuff like that. So it's just, I feel like Treyarch needs to find a middle ground with the point system because the new system they have is definitely not it, but going back to the old system, I think is also not it. I think the solution, if Treyarch is watching this, to either increase the amount of points you get per kill or lower the prices on some things. Like, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't think any point system Treyarch can make will necessarily be perfect, but if we had the BO4 system, it's at least a middle ground between the old system and the new system. I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up because I see a lot of people in the community freaking out about the point system without giving Treyarch actual feedback on how they can improve it. So, in turn, my feedback to Treyarch is at least try lowering the prices of some stuff, or at least increasing the amount of points you get per kill. That would help tremendously, in my opinion. Now, this opinion might piss some people off, but I actually don't mind the HUD in this game. Treyarch seems to really be taking feedback this time around when it comes to the HUD. They made it more zombified, they made it super customizable to now where you have like HUD themes and stuff that we can pick from. Honestly, I love the customization. Customization is like one of my favorite features ever. They could make improvements to it, like separate medals and notifications, please. Like the fact that you can pick HUD presets in Black Ops 6 is a start, but now you can pick from HUD themes and literally make the HUD look different. Like, that's cool. The customization is cool. Like, no matter what, if you don't like a feature, you can literally just remove it. Like, that solves a lot of issues in my opinion. We're getting HUD themes, we're getting HUD presets, we actually have a zombies looking HUD now that's actually themed for the mode. It's a huge step up from BO4, Cold War, or BO6's HUD, so I'm gonna give them the credit for that. Now, I did say I like the customization, but that doesn't also mean that Treyarch can make improvements to that as well. Like, why not add the option to separate medals and notifications? Because sometimes I just want to turn the medals off and I don't want to see them, but I still want to see my Gobblegum pop-ups and everything. Also, it would be nice to have a feature where you can make it so the ammo counter can disappear and reappear when you're not using it. It's such a small feature, but it's a feature that BO1 had where if you didn't use the stuff that was on the screen, it would disappear. And then once you started shooting again, it would show your ammo and whatnot. Like I said, I like the HUD a lot actually, but it could use a little bit more tweaking to make it perfect. Now, I wanted to save curse mode for last because I think it's the topic that I had the most to say about. Now, don't get me wrong, I think curse mode is a great idea in theory, but I just think that it's not going to be the classic mode that everybody thinks it is. Now, granted, Treyarch never said anything about it being a classic mode, so if anybody is expecting it to be a classic mode in the first place, I don't know why, to be honest. Here's the thing. I think that Treyarch's definition of a classic mode is different from our definition of a classic mode. I think when people say that they want classic zombies, it's not just about removing armor and removing rarities and bringing back the classic point system. It's about the survival aspect of the mode rather than the RPG aspect. Over the years, Zombies has changed from a round-based horde survival mode to a more RPG-based system-like type mode. I think just removing armors and rarity and augments and stuff like that is not gonna make it a classic Zombies mode. I think there's more to it than just that. Don't get me wrong, I think Curse will be a great mode. It's a great challenge mode, but it's not a classic mode that classic fans have been earning for. Like I said, if anything, the survival maps feel more like classic Zombies than anything, in my opinion. Why? Because it's about that survival aspect. Either way, I'm not on any side. I'm one of those people, I don't pick sides. Like, I like both modern and classic Zombies, and I think Treyarch can find a middle ground. I just don't think that Curse mode is really gonna scratch that itch that everybody was asking for. I think if Treyarch committed to making a full classic mode, I think it would make everyone happy, but I also understand that that might be a little complicated with damage scaling and everything like that. It's more complicated than that. So here's my final suggestion to Treyarch if they're watching this video. Make a classic mode, but make it an LTM first to see how people actually like it. If they like the classic mode, keep it in the actual game. Because I feel like the solution is if Treyarch just made a classic mode, I feel like it would at least make most people happy. Obviously, you can't make everyone happy, but at least it's something. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry for the quality of my mic in this video, but just bear with me. I'm working on it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Peace out.